First, be accessible and approachable. You can't change a culture if you're sitting behind a large oak office desk all day. I might go so far as to say that if you're in your desk, if you're in your office, you're generally in the wrong place. Being out and around is an unprecedented and an unexcelled resource for leaders who really want to energize their staff. When I was running the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, I made it my business to do that. I went out to those large, massive buildings in Baltimore and walked every corridor I could. I insisted as administrator of Medicare and Medicaid Services to be called Don. That turned out to be incredibly important to the staff. That it hadn't happened to them before. Always it was the administrator. And my colleague, Maureen Bisignano, my successor CEO at IHI before Derek Feely, always has a big bowl of candy on her desk and an open door. The signal's clear. Come in, get your candy. I'd like to know what you think. Acknowledge the limits of current knowledge. Show humility and fallibility. My colleague Paul Batalden, in describing the journey of improvement from the senior leadership level, always drew a diagram in which the top box, the beginning, was curiosity. Authentic curiosity in the leader is irreplaceable to set in place a culture of exchange and dialogue. You don't know everything, and that's okay. Ask for help when you need it. Senior leader, board, ask for help when you need it. You don't know everything. Share responsibility. Let others lead when the situation calls for it. The next step is how you view failure. You need to view failures as learning opportunities, or as IHI says, drawing on the history and Japanese literature, every defect is a treasure. The failures teach us. Try something and it doesn't work? Great. Now you know something that doesn't work. And you've built your knowledge and your theories about the system that you're working on. So move on to the next idea, drawing on that knowledge. You need to do something hard, which is to set boundaries about what's acceptable behavior and to which everyone is accountable. Now, this isn't a big part of the work, but it is part of the work, because when behaviors are exhibited, which they rarely will be, that just can't work in a joyous environment, you at the senior leadership level, you've got to intervene. If you walk by the situation that should be addressed, as a senior person is talking down to a junior person, or as inappropriate conversations are being held, then you're saying that situation is okay. I remember a story told by my friend and colleague Bill Rupp from part of Mayo Clinic. Dr. Rupp was trying to bring into his organization the idea of the surgical checklist and standardization and operations, because it will be safer. And he was trying to build a culture that would value that. He was in the operating room observing one of the most important surgeons at the hospital that he was at. And according to Dr. Rupp, the conversation went like this. The surgeon looked at Dr. Rupp and said, "I'm not going to use the checklist. What do you think of that, Dr. Rupp?" Dr. Rupp was the CEO. The surgeon was a very valuable member of the staff. And he did this in front of everyone. And Dr. Rupp said this. He said, "Nothing. I'll do nothing right now. It's your patient, doctor. The patient's on the table, and you need to be the captain of this ship. But this is the last surgery you're going to be doing in this hospital." That willingness to confront inappropriate conversations and inappropriate behavior is an essential resource in building a culture in which people feel safe. Now, there are a lot of benefits to building this culture of psychological safety. It includes the promotion of staff autonomy and choice. It gives staff members a level of control over their own work. And very importantly, it allows them to feel comfortable voicing opinions on how things are done. The information you may need most as a senior leader is information on what you're doing wrong. And staff who can't speak up about that, who don't feel invited to discuss the environment of their work, are not staff that will either be contributing as much as they can to the organization or joyous in their work.